Problem in all the finish. We could try to enjoy. But we could try to enjoy. Sekata uru no the finish. We could try to enjoy. Problem in all the finish. So we could try to enjoy. We could dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. We could dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. Dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. Dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala.
Why do you problem, you know they keep pressing. That person keep pressing. But all I see finish. That person, that person. Problem, you know they last forever. Make you try to enjoy. I walk up from Pelemuja to Opolo Meta just to find a mentor. Now who talk they hear what? Now who watch they fear God?
For fun, say my person, don't give it person, belle uncle. How will they consign me? How will they consign me? I don't know. Problem in no the finish you. It's your girl, my life. Sapana, you be the best friend, no. Sure you don't know.
Problem in all the finish. We could try to enjoy. Wahala in all the finish. We could try to enjoy. Sekata uru no the finish. We could try to enjoy. Problem in all the finish. So we could try to enjoy. We could dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. We could dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. Dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. Dance like Luala. Yeah, Luala. Problem in the finish. Problem, bahala in the finish. Dance like Luala. Dance like Luala.
Olala Jimmy Ashake.
Nakasungala jano de waste time, oh na. Me I will fire bazooka, oh na. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Say baby to find out they too shine, unaka. Show why me. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Hello, you carry back a lot of filo. I'ma check a phone, no go de ghost to go. Ready to pay what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza, Shina say your falapa. Agata from Osaka from Nibulala, Nishelo Japa. Omaja Bota, Libi Megapa. I don't like the nonsense, we are go bota. I don't like the nonsense, we are go bota. Nishelo Japa, Omaja Bota, Libi Megapa. I don't like the nonsense, we are go bota. I don't like the nonsense, we are go bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga
Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Sungbalaja go my body. My problem is I too sabi. Pop Marley for the pool party. I got out ya dark bada. So you dey wine mini. You know see Uber ya gbokada. Shop anka you go shop gada. Ele Sungbala ja 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 sunga. Carry your matter for head like Oshuka. VVS is on my neck, zero fuga. You dey puka, see give me sugar. Cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga, sunga, sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga.
Hello. You carry back like a filo. I'm a jack of phone, no go dey ghost you. Every to be what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza. Shina sa inyo falapa. Agata from Osaka funi ulala. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga olu sunga sunga la ja sunga olu sunga.
Give me sugar, cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga. Oluwa bona.
Nakasunga la jano de waste time, oh na. Me I want fire bazooka, oh na. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Say baby to find no de too shine, unaka. Show why me ni. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Hello. You carry back a lot of filo. I'ma check a phone, no go de ghost you. Ready to pay what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza. Shina sa inyo falapa. Agata from Osaka funi ulala. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga olu sunga la ja sunga olu sunga.
Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Sungbalaja go my body. My problem is I too sabi. Pop Marley for the pool party. Agata oya dakbada. So you dey wine mini. You know see Uber oya gbokada. Shop anka you go shop gada. Ele sungbalaja sunga. Carry your matter for head like Oshuka. VVS is on my neck, zero fuga. You dey puka, see give me sugar. Cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga.
Hello. You carry back a lot of filo. I'm a jack of phone, no go de ghost you. Every to be what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza. Shina sa inyo falapa. Agata from Osaka funi ulala. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Nishe lo japa. Omo aje bota luli mi gapa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga olu sunga la ja sunga olu sunga.
Give me sugar, cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga. Oluwa bona.
me jackpata, I dey go Ghana. You never thought you dey from papas. Which kind money we never see before? Cause hello me, got me feeling I'm the one. Ajay, can never take my cake away. Ajay, you can't count my grace. I just did my lane. You no get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Got my mind on my money. Make you dance like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, no one hear what they want telling me. Could deny my fantasy. They want to check if my tap in no wrong. But it dey rush well, it be much. Now gotta make my tap in the rush. The kind money we touch, yeah. It dey rush well, it be much. No be hype, everybody dey crush. There's no darling with us. Cause it dey rush well, it be much. Now gotta make my tap in the rush. The kind money we touch. It dey rush well, it be much. No be hype, everybody dey crush. There's no darling with us. There's no darling. I'm a da. She want the fun. Like if I want time, now she come from I think too long. She want to test in my cockara. My dear, make I tell you. I know they want day do like say. Me I suppose they go holiday, but I want to stay. She thought I was lazy. So baby don't play me. When I hear the she be screaming my name. Driving her crazy. She want it on a daily. She call me on the phone. Say she want know if I come back again. If I come back again, I give her like I'm a Yankee kid. She make her go. I'm a Yankee kid. Whoa. It's 3 a.m. and I've been drinking. I see you were tasting Uber, you up, you know what I'm thinking. I know it's late, but I've been needing you. Got me in close, girl, you're something like a drug that I've been feeling. Please keep the lights on, don't light those up. We could vibe with our clothes up. Hand me low till we doze off, yeah. Early morning, you're my coffee. Hope you don't think I'm finessing you. I love you cause you're so simple. Yeah, you classy but still freaky. Always come when I'm calling. She thought I was lazy. Tell her, baby, don't play me. When I hit it, she be screaming my name. Driving her crazy. She want it on a daily, yeah. She called me on the phone. Said she wanna know if I come back again. If I come back again. And do it like we gon' do it like she make her go. Oh, baby, I'm a Yankee kid.
Inakolobi, Pansikolobi, Manikolonesha. Benikolobi, Unakoloshi, Sanikonomisha. Kwakwalata. Benikolobi, Manimobi, Janisinogisha. Inakolobi, Pansikolobi, Manikolonesha. Benikolobi, Unakoloshi, Sanikonomisha. Kwakwalata. I enter from my puta kwakwalata. One more takasu face ya water. I know fit for some if it don't pass my power. I roll up a shawarma. I get for kwakwalata. I enter from my puta kwakwalata. One more takasu face ya water. wahala. Oh God, you let me ask God. I live flaming, with your mashami, for me no way I Charlie. Wahabi, I look, Mukada Muvado. Can't you see, you look over. Would you marry be a co-manager? Love this song, tomorrow shot. Love me, you easy a cry. Baby, don't you waste my time. I see my pussy up, I'm not where I soon live. I did fuck up, call me back, my tapata.
I enter from my butcher, Coca-Cola. Only more takasu face, I want that. I know fit for some if it don't pass my power. I roll up a shawarma, I dey for Coca-Cola.
On to the next one, give me ginger, give me power, no more LA.
You surprise me, call me, can control me.
On to the next one, give me ginger, give me power, no more LA.
Until someone for me, no be shy.
I enter from my puta Coca-Cola. Only motaka surface I want that. I know fit fast, I don't fit to pass my power. I roll up my shawarma, I dey for Coca-Cola.
I enter from my butcher, Coca-Cola. Only more takasu face, I want that. I know fit for some if it don't pass my power. I roll up a shawarma, I dey for Coca-Cola.
Now me with they clean on the house. Now me with they wash on the car. Now me with they cook no no. Now me with they wash on the cloth. Now me with they walk for your shop. Now me with they hug no no. I become a person for my happiness. So still be my own. Everybody get bro, no me say your own bro, passing my own. I become a person for my happiness, so still be my own. Everybody get bro, no me say your own bro, passing my own. Because na God that they put on my faith, food for my plate, fit no do me John. My colossal. Even as things no they go my way, even the days I no get nothing at all. My colossal. Now me wait they drive your bus, now me wait they drive your keke. My colossal. Now me wait they run around, now me they do the job. My colossal. I become a start to move, make you smoke a la crew. Just they bounce with the groove, no carry do. If you lose God, then go bounce with your boo. I can vouch for my crew, I'm telling you. Then to they do, lifestyle of a group. Make you dance, not they look, then go they look, then go they look. And say if it's not enough, if I do 99 good, it go remain one. Don't know how to show you my love without fucking up. But I can buy you a new baby, straight from major land. God, so give me trabaye, make you know they shall like it. I don't want nobody to give my matter like. For this life I day, I want to be celebrated. Don't wanna waste my days, I want to spend them on enjoyment. It's been too hard, but that is you. Everyday party, do me like I take tramadol. Don't want to feel nothing at all. Be like Ojuju Calabar. Give me moral like I be bouncer. Mon paragon. Take me higher, don't want to land. Up till now I don't understand the why. No matter what I do, it's not enough. If I do 99 good, it go. If I do 99 good, it go remain one. Don't know how to show you my love without fucking up. Well, I am faded. I just dey shake it. I can't label. Baby, trabaye, make you know they shall lie. I don't want nobody to give my matter like. For this life I day, I want to be celebrated.
Sorry, we've lost something here.
Yeah.
We've lost power.
Or power in the building.
No. Sammy, can you hear us? Okay.
Okay. I can't hear myself the way I was hearing before.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're with me, Ezekiel Olande. Welcome back. We are back. We have taken some time from the end of last year just to take a Christmas break and to change things a bit. And now we are back. As you can see at the studio, Mebadilika Kidogo, we have been doing a lot of fun stuff here. And so I'm very happy to have our first show of 2025. As you can see, we have some fancy looking drinks that we're going to talk about. My guest is in studio today, and her name is Wanjiru Mureithi, and she is the director of WINEPRENEURSHIP. Please get it right. The director of WINEPRENEURSHIP. Wanjiru, welcome. Thank you for taking time to be with us. Salimia watu tafadhali.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Ezekiel, for having me here today. Yes, indeed. WINEPRENEURSHIP is the name of the company, but sometimes I also go by that name. If people can remember Wanjiru,
yes,
I accept to be called Wanjiru too.
Nikuite Wanjiru.
Yes. Lakini usiniite Winnie. Winnie ni rafiki yetu, lakini usiniite Winnie.
We will not call you Winnie. Yeah, but thank you for taking time to be with us today. Our topic of the day is winepreneurship, and we'll be focusing on the business of wine and entrepreneurship. Yes. And Wanjiru is just here to take us through first your journey through this business or this life and the world of wine, and then tell us how you ended up running this kind of business. So first, maybe allow me to ask a quick question. So just you can tell us about your early background and what sparked your interest in entrepreneurship and also winepreneurship. Okay.
Thank you so much. And once again, it's an honor to be here. If you had told me, a couple of years back that this is what I'll be doing now, I would have probably told you you're out of your mind because, of course, we know there's no wine. I mean, I wasn't born into wine. I didn't grow up on a wine farm. I'm from Kirinyaga, where there's tea and coffee. and the like. And sometimes I wonder whether perhaps that should have been the easier way to get into this. But yeah, born and bred. Oh, I wasn't born and bred in Nairobi. I was born in Nyeri. I moved to Nairobi when I was about 2.
Okay.
and I'm the third one out of 4. My dad is a doctor. My mom was a teacher. So that's the kind of sort of setup we grew up in.
Yeah.
But we always had a farm, right? Everybody has shags.
Yes.
And because when you go, there's things growing there. So things are always brought back to be sold to or to be given away to neighbors and stuff like that. So I think, in a sense, it wasn't quite a formal side hustle for my parents.
Yeah.
But I think they were farmers first before everything else.
Yeah.
So as much as the tea and coffee, you don't necessarily get involved in the selling because it's taken to a cooperative society.
Yeah.
But, bananas, mahindi, beans is always coming through.
Yeah.
There was definitely time spent in the farm.
Okay.
And that's why I hate chameleons, because the tea farm, the coffee has chameleons. And you're always told they're going to get to your hair and we have to cut your hair when they get there. So I still have a few of chameleons because of the coffee. But even for the tea, because it was a bush and it's thick.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you don't know what's in there. There could be snakes and whatever.
Yeah.
But then, going to shags and taking part in farm activities was always part of the holiday.
Right.
So, went to various schools in Nairobi. I didn't go to one. I went to actually quite a few primary schools because we were moving.
Okay.
And around the time I was in high school, my dad then decided to go into private practice.
Okay.
Right? So that I think was very pivotal in terms of, the kind of, I guess, first phase of entrepreneurship as well.
Right.
My mom being a teacher also.
Yes.
I know now it's quite a formalized process about tuition.
Yeah.
But there was always neighbors coming in for extra classes. I think it was the usual maths, English.
Kwanza math. You're a math teacher because even when we grew up, our next door neighbor was a math teacher.
Yes.
Tulikuwa tunaenda huko for tuition.
For tuition,
for
yeah.
Sure.
And I think there were always a class ahead of me or something. But, so there was that challenge of getting involved in that kind of practice. So when I finished high school, there was the 2-year break. I don't know if you remember, there's a time there was this strike in the University of Nairobi. Public universities.
Yeah.
So there was always a 2-year delay.
Yeah, before you get back to
work. And what most people did was to go to, Strathmore or, to do the CPAs, or I think something was called IDPM at the time.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I missed the application deadline or whatever. So I was kind of at home. And then my dad now, who I said has just said his private practice, I think his receptionist quit unexpectedly. So one Saturday I was told, just come and sort of hold fort.
Come help us.
Before we hire someone. And that was kind of early, within the first year of waiting for university. So it was around March.
Okay.
And then I was told to arrange files in alphabetical order. But that stinked. Lasted now until we were called to university, which was about 1.5 years later.
Okay. Wow.
So I became, I used to call him the, MD, then I'm the GM. But then, simple things like, one, you're being able to handle petty cash, you have to go to the bank.
Yeah.
So, every day you're filling in the slips and going to the bank. There was, we had register, and there was some sort of business development where we had to you want to increase the number of people coming in.
Yeah.
To seek the services and some sort of product development, very rudimentary, right? But then in retrospect, that is what it really was.
Yeah,
right?
Those are the building blocks.
Blocks. So even just seeing us go from this month we had 100 clients. Next month we have 200 clients, or we've signed up this corporate client was really, really good. And then in the office block we were at, of course, there was people who were in the bank that got older people than myself, who I got to network with. So I actually had older friends and stuff like that. Yeah. So by the time I was getting to university, you can imagine, in essence, I was really involved in the nitty-gritty of running a business.
Yes.
And it was quite disappointing to get into, again, creme de la creme, University of Nairobi, and then find myself in a lecture. Find myself in a lecture with about, over 100 other students, and all the notes are being given in dictation.
Of course.
And I'm like, yo. I mean, this is supposed to be like, the next, where we develop the next business leaders, right? Yeah. So because of that, then I joined ISEC, the student organization.
Right.
And I was in Lower Kabete campus. ISEC office was in the main campus in Nairobi, in town. So that meant that I actually commuted a lot from Lower Kabete to hang out with my ISEC friends. But I think ISEC provided me the next building block I wanted, which was, interacting with like real business leaders, taking part in activities like organizing conferences that, you involve that created things, as opposed to the dictation of the notes and the...
From the creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme, yeah. So
university.
University, yeah. And then through that... by the time I was, then of course I was involved in other activities like, I was the what is it called? The editor of the marketing magazine. Therefore, I was linked to the Marketing Society of Kenya, and I met the editor of the Marketing Society of Kenya magazine, which was, I think, called Sokoni. And we started some publishing company, like, like, for example, as a result of that. So on completion of university, of course, the dream was, because you're an ISEC member, you want to go abroad on what was called a traineeship. So that was exchange program was the big selling point. And mine didn't come right away. I mean, people used to go to Citibank, they used to, in fact, like the Geneva office, people used to go to the States, the UK. So, of course, I waited for a bit. So during that time, while working for the Marketing Society of Kenya, we actually started this magazine. Or rather, we attempted
Sokoni.
to. No. Sokoni was the formal
the one
one
that you're editing.
But then now because you can't be a Sokoni person, we wanted to start our own. And we actually started it through an email newsletter. I think we called it Grapevine. And I mean, what privacy laws notwithstanding now, we sent it out to a bunch of people because emails were predictable. You work for Icon, so your name is Ezekiel.Olande at iconradio.
Makes it very easy.
And so on and so forth. And I think, we did that for a couple of months, and it was so exciting. And it was dial-up internet. And I would use the company internet because I didn't have internet at home. Anyway.
So just a second there.
Sorry.
For kids watching at home who do not understand what dial-up internet is, thank God for something called the fiber optic cable, because, my friend, that and that the sound.
The sound, yes,
before
I can hear it.
And it rings, and then when it finally goes through that shh kind of thing, and you're like, anyway, good memories.
And then because you're using the phone line, when you're on the internet, you can't receive calls. So calls are not coming in because someone is on the internet, and it was really expensive, actually. Anyway, so finally my traineeship came about, and I was selected. Actually, I mean, the opportunity was in Canada to work in an entrepreneurship office for young people. So it was Canada has a province called Nova Scotia, which is on the east coast. The main city there is Halifax. It's about 7 hours flight from London, or one, is it? And then an hour to New York, or is it 2 hours to New York, 2 hours to Toronto? Right. So University City, and I started my work there on the 1st of January, 2001, which is the middle of winter.
Wow. Coming from tropical Kenya.
From tropical Kenya. And even if I'm from Kirinyaga got nothing on a Canadian winter. Right. So that was quite something. And I think part of the reason I got the job is because I had this entrepreneurship thing.
Yes.
So our work was to provide advice to young people wanting to start businesses. So we were like, they used to call us navigators. Yeah, you're not the expert, but then now I'll come and ask you, I want to get into something, then, you kind of guide them. And of course, there was lots of government resources and, parasitical resources available.
Right.
So that was a really, really cool job. And of course, being away from home for the first time. That was quite exciting. So initially, I was supposed to be there for 8 months. But then, again, got into the system and, my contract was extended. Until now, a South African national came to study what they were doing. And they were setting up a youth fund in South Africa. So the CEO of Umsubumvu Youth Fund, which was a South African youth fund, came. And, I was nowhere near the top dogs who were supposed to meet him because we're coming to do benchmarking or whatever it's called now.
Benchmarking.
But I think on a dinner, the social evening, they figured, we have an African working for us. He's an African.
Why not?
Let's invite her, right? Let's invite her for dinner. And of course, being there, you talk and I got integrated into his program for the rest of the trip. And he basically told me, you're coming to work for us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So learn all you need to learn, send your CV kind of thing. And we want you in SA. So it's interesting because, you know, the movie Sarafina?
Yeah.
I mean, I had watched that movie and the dancing.
Yeah.
And I had wanted to go to SA. I didn't whatever appetite or whatever was going on at the time.
You just want to
I wanted to be Leleti Kumalo. I wanted to dance. What was that song? Our Father. And of course, the music and all that stuff. So it was like music to my ears.
Yeah.
But what I also kind of couldn't grasp at that point in time is, of course, you want to stay in Canada.
Yeah.
There was some young man
Of course.
who lived in the States who, you know, who was promising things. But then I'm like, this opportunity, you can't just say no because, so why don't you go and try it out and see what happens? So then my total time in Canada was 1.5 years. Then I went on to South Africa and worked for this youth fund for the next 10 years of my life. Yeah. So I went in 1st September 2001 and I quit my job literally 1st October 2012. Of course, for different reasons. But that was my South African experience. Now, the youth fund was basically doing what we're doing in Canada, but at a large scale.
Right.
We had 1 billion rand.
Oh.
You know, when I was in Canada and you told me 1 billion rand, and I mean, we're talking about billions earlier of Kenyan fraud and corruption cases. But there was this big investment to do economic empowerment for the youth. If you think about South Africa's history, the youth involvement before was very political. Right? It was the Sarafina kind of things we used to see.
Yes.
But then now, here it was, I mean, independence 94, this is 2001.
Yeah.
I thought Canada was abroad. It was Ruraya, you know? But then coming to South Africa was a different ball game. The kind of things, the goals they had and the things they were doing. And I was just like, I mean, I don't even understand how they trust me in this thing, right? But in essence, I knew the frameworks on the models in Canada and was applying some of them now into the South African space.
Model.
Like into, so there was youth centers that we started with and then, you know, moved on to, there was of course financing and entrepreneurship. There was like a national youth service as well. So it was an interesting 10 years. And you know how you're living in another country, of course, you come with some African outfit, people want you to bring it for them.
Of course.
You know, my Kirinyaga roots coffee and tea. You know, you want people to bring it to them. So there was still some entrepreneurship activity going on in that regard, until I had a personal loss that just, I guess, made it the best decision was to quit and resign my job at the time and come back to figure things out. I think a fresh start and to take some time to heal. So I came back home in the December 2012. So when you're back here, and you know, you come to Kenya often, so you think you know what's going on.
Right.
And I think one of the first few months when I was here, a friend from university was setting up some sort of it was like a more, you know, salary loans. So some early form of M-Shwari based on your salary.
Yes.
So I called Micromobile. So I got a stint for a year to do that. But I was still trying to, in a sense, find my feet. And I was like, I'm going to rest. Maybe I'm going to go back to South Africa for something. Because, of course, I still had interest there. And then something like the alcoholic drink of choice. If you think about South Africa, wine is a commodity. Right? And out of all the drinks you could have, it was the one that agreed with me the most. So you're trying to socialize in Nairobi and go out and you can't find wine that you can afford or wine that you want to drink.
Huku tunakunywa beer, my friends. Please.
There was a lot of...
And hard stuff.
There was a lot of thirst. Okay, so you're a whiskey guy.
No. I'm just saying this is what Kenyans do.
I know.
You know?
So then I think that thirst then drove me into exploration of the wine side. Right? I wasn't, even within South Africa, I think I used to drink just because, you know, it's available. you don't
Yes,
care about
yes.
the brand or the region. It's like, go buy something in this price range.
I hope Kwanza na zile za box.
It's all good. No. Actually, my partner at the time was a member of a fancy wine club.
Oh, is
so
it
we used to
now?
get like a box at home,
Yeah.
So maybe now I downgraded now that I was here. So of course I would go back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I got wise and decided I'll be bringing stuff for myself. And then I would bring stuff for myself, and then my friends got to know that I bring.
Yeah.
So of course, stuff that's supposed to last for 3 months gets finished in 2 days,
Yes.
right? So the one day I was like, guys, no. Where's my invoice book?
Yes.
Where Chipambili, let's pay for this. So they say, then make this your business. You're still exploring. You go up and down often. You'll be bringing us wine, we'll buy.
Yeah.
So then, I started exploring the business of being a wine importer. And it was very clear.
Yes.
Very clear early on about the cash investment for inventory is huge.
That was going to be my next question, because I know wine is not cheap.
Yeah.
And then we have all these import-export, obviously, rules.
The regulatory environment.
Yes. So how did you navigate that process?
So, okay, well, if you're bringing quantities like for yourself, literally I could bring them in the suitcase. And,
Yes.
And depending on what kind of custom official I find, there's many. I mean, there was all. Sometimes I was lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe the flights I was taking were late at night, and there wouldn't be any sort of stringent inspection. But when I did, they calculate for you an amount you pay, right? Whether informally or formally, right? So that was easy. But now if you're getting into, okay, I want to represent a brand, I'm looking for these brands to bring in, that's a whole different ballgame.
Exactly.
But I can just tell you, I did get an import license for a year.
Okay.
But it took me all of 9 months
to get it.
Yeah. By the time I had it in my hand, and I wasn't starting anything new, I was going to use a warehouse that's in use.
Yeah.
All that. But the number of people you have to pay.
Yeah.
For this and that and the other.
Yeah.
I said, I'm never doing this. Like, I'm not going through this. Even this license, wacha tu niweke kwa mfuko and put it aside.
As a nice to have.
Yeah, because as it is, you're going to spend X amount of money to buy X amount of wine.
Right.
Then there's the whole shipping cost and all that coming here. I mean, people make money from it, but I think it wasn't really my cup of tea. And then the other thing I realized is there's a difference between bringing wine that I know to come and sell to people, and then there is what I need to understand to be an importer.
Yeah.
So even the education bit was something I had to explore. I need to get some information about what courses to do to be able to sell better.
Yeah.
And the first course I got was from University of Cape Town, best university in Africa.
Yeah.
And they had a postgraduate diploma for wine business management. So I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
So 2 business degrees not enough.
Let's
one from University of Nairobi, another one from University of Pretoria. So here goes this one. And I enrolled in that course. It was going to take over a year with 4 modules. So I was going to go to Cape Town, come back regularly, which was great.
Yeah.
Because the class had winemakers.
Okay.
The class also had, then they would take me, I had an opportunity to, be in situation and learn about wine with a purpose now.
Right.
So part of what we had to do during the course was to, in essence, what is your wine business? If you're not a winemaker, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So then education started coming up. Education and consulting are something that really fitted in what I was doing before. Yeah. And clearly does not need as much capital in upfront capital investment.
Yes, it's like the importation was. Yeah.
Because you have a course, you provide, people pay before they come to class.
Yeah.
They come to class, the money's in the bank, everybody's happy. So that's what I started, leading towards.
Yeah.
And you can just imagine I thought I knew wine until I got into a class with winemakers and the stuff they're talking about. And now you have to go into a wine farm where normally you just go as a consumer to the tasting room. There's wine here. They've arranged for you 3 glasses. You pay a price. You drink the wine. You go. So understanding the vineyard, all the way from production, all the complexities. Then the viniculture, the winemaking itself, and then now the sales and promotions and branding and all this, and of course responsible drinking, right?
Very, very important.
Very important. Very, very important. Anyway, so I would come back. And of course increase my knowledge. And then of course I'm starting to talk about myself as a wine person.
Yeah.
in the last module, we had a person from Wines of South Africa as a guest lecturer. And he was talking about doing business in Africa for, in essence, South African wine companies doing business in Africa because that's the work he does.
Yeah.
So WOSA, Wines of South Africa, is like the marketing board, like KTB, Kenya Tourism Board, right?
Yeah.
So any companies that export, they represent them. And their key markets, of course, were at the time Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, and of course the Southern African countries.
Okay, so Kenya was not part of that.
No.
Okay.
So here I am. So he's talking about doing business in Africa, numbers, and then he's not mentioning Kenya, and I'm like, excuse me,
What's going on?
Yeah. But I think around the time maybe they wanted to come and set up something here, look for an agent, was the time Westgate happened.
I see.
Which was 2013. So my class is happening in 2014, right?
Okay.
So I think that, of course, destabilizes things for a bit. But then again, the importance of having partners. In Uganda, they had a very strong relationship with the South African Airways management team.
Okay.
So their events would be run together kind of with that platform. But in Kenya, they hadn't quite established that. But they had spoken to various people, because again, there was South African wine in Kenya anyway. So I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
I can do this for you.
Yeah.
I can do this for you. My company is this, we want to do this and all that stuff. So
also by this time you've already established Wine Zero.
So it's a concept. It's a concept.
Right,
but then now there's what do I need to be?
Yes.
It needs to be a registered company. So now after talking to him, I came back and sort of setting things in place as we are sending him a proposal about what we want to do. So then the agreement was I will go for the Uganda event and see what happens there. Then now implement our plan. So October 2014, went into Uganda, saw what they were doing, refined my proposal, and then waited. And I waited for a whole year. 2015. So we finished the course and everything. I've now established a business. Business cards kila kitu. Our focus is education, experience and lifestyle, right?
Wow.
And of course, my friend Job did the branding. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the two grapes, the W, the red and white. Anyway.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm doing the micro mobile thing as a consulting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I should go back to SA because I've gone through spending time with family also. I'm feeling sort of much better about life and everything.
Yeah.
Then we got a call that says there's a big wine show called the Cape Wine Show that was happening in September in Cape Town.
Yeah.
It tells me, you come. In fact, you need to bring wine media with you.
Okay.
We'll sit here. We're coming out for the Kenyan event in November as per your proposal, but then we'll refine a few things.
Right. This is
2015.
2015.
So we set up the company in 2014 during the course.
Yeah.
But now, in essence, our first check into the company
is coming in now.
Came from Wines of South Africa.
Yeah.
And it came now for the 2015 event that we did. So the work we were supposed to be as their agent in Kenya is to organize a trade show.
Okay.
Wine producers wanting to come into Kenya. So they're coming to bring samples.
Yeah.
They need to have wine importers, hotels, restaurant, so trade people.
You're creating the entire ecosystem for them to be able to meet with the industry players.
Yes.
Right.
And then over and above that, so there's that matching.
Yeah.
We have an event in an evening. We taste over 200 wines from all these producers. But then there's also a training component.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what I want to do.
It's speaking to you.
Yeah, a training component. So where the trade show focuses more on management level people, the training focuses on service people.
Okay.
So we train people and so we made our mark that way.
Okay.
And of course now got our name. Because before, nobody knows who Wanjiru is.
Yeah.
They've never heard of this company. But now at least that set us off.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for them since 2015.
Okay.
So of course, we've had various versions of the same over the years.
Yeah.
We even go into Tanzania now.
Okay.
We've done Mombasa events as well. But the ethos is really the same. We're their agent that way.
Yeah.
And now, of course, when they're talking about doing business in Africa, Kenya is number one.
Perfect.
In terms of, we, with education, with more targeted sort of planning and branding and events and all those, then it becomes really great.
Yeah.
So we do consulting in that sense. Now, so there's the event from Wines of South Africa.
Yeah.
Another thing is some of the brands, like now I brought you Simon Sig. It is represented by a company called Crystal Frozen.
Yeah.
Sometimes Crystal Frozen will hire Wine Giro to do training
Okay.
to their trade people.
Right.
So we get different contracts from people like that. Or you open a restaurant, you own Big Fish. You know, well, you know, you will bring us to train Big Fish people on wine and link you to people in the market like that. But of course, the education thing was also still a big one.
Yeah.
So I enrolled in another course for a UK-based qualification called Wines and Spirits Education Trust.
Okay.
WSET in short, but it's like the top one qualification for anybody in the world, right? So I went into the UK. I mean, I had to do the courses in South Africa.
Yeah.
Then went into the UK to do the trainer's course to get the license. And then through a partner, DeFreeze Consulting in Kenya, one of the importers, then we launched that in 2018.
Okay.
So professional course, people do exams.
Wow.
Then they get a certification that is globally recognized. You know, you can tell someone I'm a sommelier, which is a wine expert. They'll ask you, you know, to prove something.
What are your credentials?
What are your credentials?
Yes.
So you can
see me consultant for wine. I have nothing to show for it.
And unfortunately, saying I went to Wanjiro's class doesn't help in that setting. You need to actually say I'm a level 2 WSET for them to figure out. So people want to go on cruises, people want to work in international hotels, and even within the country. Anytime I see a job description now, there is we require a WSET level something, and that brings a smile to my face.
Right.
But the reality is the WSET course is expensive.
Okay.
Right? So they still sort of a huge lot of people who either have been just serving wine or being in the wine profession from experience only, you know?
Yes.
People who've been working in Talisman or like Carnival for X number of years.
Yeah, so they know their wines.
They know wine.
But they can't afford to do
They may not have the qualification. Yeah. Hopefully through their companies or through importers, they can qualify. But they know wine. There's others who have been selling wine without even tasting wine before. So coming to when importers are training on location or when now we have the Wines of South Africa kind of training that's open to everybody and paid for, then they get to come and learn.
Okay.
And whether your restaurant is Italian, there's a general understanding of wine you need to know, so that really helps. Now, WOSA has done a lot of that, but now other countries' marketing bodies are doing a lot. We talked about the Gamberoso event that happened just the other day. That's an Italian-inspired one. There's Americans coming in March. California Wines to do the same. There's been Serbian wine. There's been... So, I mean, it is not... this is not the country that it was in 2014.
As you're saying that, I'm like, Kenyan wine? Because we do
Kenyan wine too.
Yes, I know we have wine that is produced here locally. Do we have any representation first in the local wine circuit, if I can call it that, but also more importantly internationally as well?
So Lelesho wine, that is part of Kenya Nut, is the commercial producer in Kenya.
Okay.
And I mean, they had a Kenyan winemaker. She left the company recently, but then I mean, she had been there for over 10 years.
Okay.
You know, someone from JKU Art, Jomo Kenyatta University of
Agriculture and Technology.
Thank you. So not even someone who is wine trained. And of course, perhaps the company over time used to bring in, say, an expert, either a viticulturalist or a viniculturalist. But then towards the end of her term, in essence, she was the main person. In fact, I think she even produced a special edition for her 10th year.
Oh, nice.
At Leleshwa. Do they meet local demand? They can't even. Because I'm not sure what the production numbers are, but in essence, and then I think their most... The grape variety that was most popular, I hope this is not too technical.
I don't know, go for it.
Was a Sauvignon Blanc, which is a white wine.
Yes.
Yeah, so there is that. And I know there was some that was actually exported.
I like the way you say it because we butchered that name.
Sauvignon Blanc.
I won't even attempt. We'll just call it white wine for now and move on. Please proceed.
And then I know that they brought in other varieties. They had a rosé. They also had, and now they even have a vodka that's made from wine-based vodka.
Oh, okay.
Like Ciroc is wine-based. So the Lelesha vodka is also wine-based because sometimes there's, extra production perhaps.
Yes. So now you become innovative with what you have.
To that. And I mean, I know they've had tourism experiences, especially during the time when there's grapes on the farm, right? I mean, the first time I went to a vineyard was during winter.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen all the Instagram. So I'm like, where are the leaves? Where are the grapes?
Like what's going on here?
What is all this?
I've been played. Ini Shambagani.
So I think Leleshwa was very intentional that
Yeah.
they would bring. I mean, they would have the tours from October to January when the vineyards have grapes,
yes,
so that of
yes.
course they can be that experience. So they used to do that, but again, we didn't really have a sort of wine experience. Like you can drive into any wine estate in Cape Town more or less and have a wine experience on the vineyard, right? So that wasn't quite happening yet, but at least there's that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of wine tours on IG, and I think they're the brands that are now trying to bring that as an experience.
That experience,
yes.
So, but then what we have in Kenya, okay, that's as far as local production goes.
Yeah.
I know there is also some production of church wine.
Okay.
In the Meru, like Timau area.
The altar wine.
The altar wine, yes, as well.
Yeah.
And there was also another family in Kajiado that had started experimenting as well with a young lady, but I know she's moved on to something else now.
Okay.
So is there a scope? Definitely. I mean, think of our neighbors in Tanzania.
Yeah.
They have, I mean, the Dodoma region has, a lot of vineyards, privately owned, government owned as well.
Okay.
Ethiopia as well. I'm sure there's some form of, we're talking about grape-based wine, but there's some form of wine, made in all other countries. Yeah. Even banana wine in UG. University of Nairobi, actually, through their agricultural department, also had, is it honey, aloe vera wine, and something else. So there's all some similar versions.
Okay.
But if you're talking about commercial production, what we find in the restaurants and that, Leleshwa is the only sort of local producer.
Okay. You're with me, Ezekiel Olande, on Money Mondays, and we're having a very exciting conversation on winepreneurship with my beautiful and wonderful guest, Wanjiru Murithi, who's the director at Wine Njiru. And she's just giving us her journey and then the experience of wine production in Kenya, but also how her journey has been up until this place, partnering with I want to say Woza because that's
Woza is calm, right?
Yeah. Wines of South Africa. And so, Wanjiru, I just want us to shift a bit. You've already talked to us about a bit of your journey. And so I just wanted to because you were employed up until 2012.
2012, yes.
Yes. Okay. Then now you shifted into, and this is something that came out as, I want to say, was it passion because you were bringing in wines, your friends were taking them, and then you suddenly like, no, guys, let us put some invoice to this. So how did you overcome the obvious challenges of setting up a business and just getting from, because the trainings that you've talked about are quite, I think some of them are expensive. So how did you overcome some of these challenges?
Okay, so let me say on one level, really, this wasn't scientific. I don't want to lie that I sat and thought, okay, let me get into the wine business. These are the steps. No, it was kind of, it was kind of accidental in a way. But
it's accidentally on purpose.
Accidentally on purpose. But again, things did not quite, we didn't follow the sort of predictable trajectory, right? But then the other thing also is maybe related to the loss. When you've had a big loss like that, then you feel you can't lose anymore.
Yes.
So in essence, I think the willingness to take risks and to just really...
Go for it.
Go for it. So what can be worse than what I've already gone through, right? Because that micro mobile, the financial, the loans we're giving over the phone, mobile money, that company went on and I could have stayed with them, but I figured... that required me sort of to be very decisive about, I'm in Kenya and this is my job. But I was still moving back and forth to SA. And maybe I like that freedom too, right? So there's a number of factors in a sense. But then, you plan. If we didn't get the WASA check in 2015, maybe none of this would have happened.
The journey would have been different.
But then the fact that you came with an idea and have convinced someone to pay you, right?
Yeah, that is fulfilling.
That is very fulfilling. I think that sort of anchors you down because as much as you've registered the business and have a bank account doesn't mean that it's a business yet.
Precisely.
So this is revenue that came in and made this predictable. And they're kind of telling you, we want you to be our rep. you're not on a retainer. But yeah, let's see how this year goes. If we do it well, you'll come back next year.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you some gravitas of, yes, this is something that I can do. But then what else? So within the same, now you've decided it's the wine business, then you can add on. Yes. And that's why the education sort of license, which I thought would have come immediately, also took some time. We only launched in 2018. Okay. So back to your question about
the
challenges or how do you decide? I mean, if say I had taken voluntary retirement and I had a big payout,
big pension,
a big payout, would I have chosen this? Probably not. So I think that flexibility and maybe even the connection to South Africa that I could still do something for them here was part of that motivation. But then even the point of why not an import business? Was very clear. Yeah, I don't have this money that I'm getting needs to somehow replicate itself quickly. Because I don't want it to be in the horror stories I hear from importers. I wonder how they are the bravest people. Losses. Containers fall in the ocean. Containers get.
It's an evil,
and all that. Let's not talk about cabs and KRA. And all these other tests that you have to do. It's a perishable product. Of course, it has to be stored correctly to be in good condition.
Absolutely,
And then now you get a listing in a supermarket that tells you you're being paid after 120 days. So maybe also knowing I'm already grey. I don't need any more grey in my hair. That, made the decision easier. And then perhaps, so I did have, so there was a check that came. I have quit my job. I have come home. I don't want to say I had savings, but I think maybe again tied to you've been planning this money where you're saving for the future, for your family, for whatever. And now kind of things have changed. So let me see whether I can use it now. But if it wasn't for my parents, and especially my mom, I say I chose her as the business partner. Because she's more easy to release the money. All you need is a phone call and some few points, and she'll be like, "Okay, how much do you need? When are you returning it?" My dad, on the other hand, as much as I was his MD, and he was, I was a GM, and he was the MD at some point, and we have that history. He's a very structured person. He requires PowerPoint presentations.
And like a business plan.
With projections, So yes, you might get the money, but it'll take you longer, right? So that's why I guess it was easier then to put my mom in as the co-director. And she was retired as well from her teaching, but still doing, various activities. So I cannot undermine the contribution they had and the fact that I had them. And because I have come back to Kenya, I am living at home. So in essence, my expenses are also minimized in terms of rent.
Your overheads are low.
Are low, and we side with the home office also. So I think those things help. In terms of how at least the starting part. I'm not sure how people have all sorts of stories about how they start.
True. And that's why, it's your story.
That is what made it possible for us.
Okay. You do talk about your mother, and I know you said she was your co-director, and then you lose your mother. How does this affect your journey on entrepreneurship?
It is loss is huge, right? It is big. Losing a child is one thing. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But even losing a parent is also really, really because they're not just fine. She provided finances, but then again, over and above being a mom, you bounce things off.
And she's your cheerleader as well.
Cheerleader. Yeah. Even though actually, she actually had a problem with the alcohol bit. What are we doing with this alcohol?
African parents, regardless of your religion, African parents. Johe, my friend.
So of course we sold it has to. I'm like, you could work for EABL also and still be, it's still a good job. So it definitely has an impact. It definitely has an impact. But then and to be honest, I haven't been able to replace to appoint another director since 2021 when we lost her. But then it's a company, so of course an institution still continues. And because, of course, with the different projects we have, for the education, I already had the other partner in the importing company.
Yeah.
Right? So again, that structure still works.
Yeah.
For the different projects we run for Wines of South Africa and other clients, it's a project team that comes in and, we assign each other duties that are still able to operate. So, of course, in the administration of the business, there's changes, but then maybe the good thing is that it's a company anyway. So, it continues operating. Soon after my mom passed away, I actually fell sick.
Oh, wow.
And I had to go through some emergency surgery.
Okay.
And I remember, looking at the doctor, and we had just got the TZ appointment actually.
Okay.
So we had gone to TZ and done the recce, and then the client had confirmed we're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Then I fall sick in March. And the doctor is telling me how I need like X number of months to rest. And I'm looking at him like... No, you need to shorten this period because things have to be done. Like, please tell me, right?
Yes,
please tell me what is going to happen in May. And I mean, of course, the guy is looking at you like, haven't I just read you like the rap sheet of...
This is how it's going to be.
Of you're here now, but you may not be here then kind of scenario, yeah? So you ask yourself about continuity and, legacy and all that. But of course, that was also a very crazy time when now I'm like, what's going to happen? And you start thinking about also, should I structure this differently? Should we sort of have a different kind of ownership? Should I get partners? Should I sell the business? How much is it worth if I was to sell it today? So I'm thankful that I got better and I was able to, of course, meet my obligations that year. But Okay. On one hand, you're being asked, what's your bank PIN? What's your M-Pesa PIN?
Yes.
What do you need? What do you want us to do?
Yeah.
On the other hand, actually, it's funny. This is what, the doctor knows, right? So anyway, the surgery goes well, but I'm in hospital for observation for a week before I'm discharged.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity to do something with the United States Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
Right. So I am the only, I know I have that meeting.
Yeah.
They've taken away my phones from me. So I asked my brother, just bring my laptop for me to reschedule this meeting, right? Yeah. That I can see how to do it.
Okay.
So when he brings the laptop, I'm like, it's a virtual call.
Yeah.
They don't need to know where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
I could still take this call.
Yes.
So of course I don't reschedule the meeting. And I'm there.
In your hospital, was your camera on?
No. I even asked him to bring a jacket, whatever.
Okay.
And, under my hospital gown, whatever. Anyway, we had this meeting and it went really well.
Okay.
But then the one thing I was trying to prove to myself is that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because I was being asked questions about my business and all that. And I was like, come on, Nimbaya.
Yes. Yeah.
Nimbaya.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I went through that and actually, we started doing some work together with that. But it was one of those, the doctor found me in the middle of the interview. They open the curtain and then they just close it. Just close it.
Sorry guys, just 5 minutes.
But then I guess this is entrepreneurship, right? I'm a member of Toastmasters.
Okay.
And I remember the same week, I think, now that I had my phone, I could see there's a meeting going to happen and they don't have enough role takers.
Right.
And I tried.
Nani kama Wanjiru.
Okay. But you're like, I can do this because I'm not doing anything here. But of course, you really have to. I mean, if you need to rest.
Yes,
but it was a very difficult time to like shut down and give yourself time to rest.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I'm back.
I'm happy to hear that. Very, very, very interesting. So, shifting to now wine as a business, because we're talking about winepreneurship.
Yes.
And to me, naenda kwa supermarket or naenda kwa wine shop, I buy. So many people, will enjoy wine, but I don't think many of us see it as a business opportunity. So probably from your experience, what does it take to run a profitable wine business?
A lot of people are like, "Oh, you do wine? Wow, that's so sexy!"
Hey,
and I'm
sounds
thinking,
fancy, because wine is exclusive and snotty, and you take it with cheese and all these things.
And like, how did you? But I'm like, if you replace wine with milk, if you replace wine with coffee,
it's a commodity.
If you replace wine, it's really the same thing. And then, we've been drinking beer.
Yeah,
EABL is a big company.
True.
Super normal profits, pays lots of money to carry.
Yeah.
And they're like, So for me, I don't see. I mean, sure, it's just that it's my subject matter of choice.
Yes,
but
yes.
I look at it like any other business, right? So there's a whole value chain.
Yeah.
From the production side, there's the commercial side, and of course, the consumers and all these fancy things that we do, with social media and all. But at the end of the day, it's about return on investment, like anything. People are being taught about coffee.
Yes.
You can be taught about wine. What does it take?
Yeah.
You structure it, accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that it's viewed to be something really special.
It's niche. That is what it is.
A niche.
Yeah.
But like I said, I found myself here. There was a history of a saying, but we could replace this with anything and it would sort of still have the same. And I think we're very lucky in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the market and the share of mouth that beer has.
Yes, yes.
I wish I had the budgets that beer has and whiskey has, right?
Yes.
And I think part of the problem with wine, people don't understand wine because there is so much. I think it's so fragmented. There's all these countries, there's all these styles. Yeah, so it seems to be complicated. But really, once you have a framework, it's like anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
We are lucky that we are, maybe the good side of not being a producing country is that we get wine from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And believe you me, okay, the prices are still high.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad for what I've seen happen over the last 10 years.
Okay.
You can go now and you'll have wine by the glass. You have choices. Waiters are not asking you sweet or dry, red or white.
Yes.
They're actually telling you, we're serving you, Simon Seg, we're serving you Labori, we're serving you, Delia Graf from, South Africa and whatever.
Hizo jina zote, mimi najua tu Nedenberg.
Hata Niederberg sawa. Hata Niederberg Hesketh. Four cousins. Muchomas.
At least we moved from folk.
No, Four Cousins is a very profitable brand. But, I mean, and they do have these Four Cousins.
The higher.
Yeah,
okay.
Van Louvren.
The top shelf stuff.
They also
not
have
the box ile inakuja kama juice.
Yes. Yeah, we've moved from Cade Bordeaux, right? But I mean, again, for me, if you're drinking wine, you're already in the box. Yeah. So my work is easy just to move you.
I see what you did there.
Just to move you along. So, but then I guess if you're telling me I'm a beer guy or a whiskey guy, then I have to fight a bit more for you, to switch over, right? So I love everybody because at least people have already chosen I want to be a wine drinker. And then now events like what we have that, people can experiment.
Exactly.
And taste and decide, I only like sweet wine. Then you take it to dry wine and you're like, it's not so bad. And you can afford it, you can buy it, it's great.
Yeah.
So I know a lot has happened.
Yes, that is true.
The volumes and the value of wine being important to Kenya has grown tremendously. But we're only scratching the surface. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of events I see women and younger women. Yeah. But when we go to more formal dining spaces, I see, men as well. I see the older folk there. Yeah. So there's all the different categories. I think there's something for everybody. There's people who I hear are collectors. Yeah. Like they get allocations from the wine estate itself, not from an importer. Yeah. Yeah, they get allocations from the producer being sent directly to them in this market of ours.
This our Kenya.
This our Kenya here.
My friend, those are goals. Like you have a wine, we just see in the movies, you have a wine cellar and you have, I don't know, wine from which year. And
exactly.
And please also tell us, because from movies.
Yes.
When the older, I mean, it makes sense in my head, but explain to us why older wine is more highly regarded than wine year 2025, for instance.
I think I'll talk about it this way. So what makes a wine good? Is it complex? Yeah. Right? There's a Java coffee and there's Nescafe.
Yes.
Yeah. Nescafe here, sachet ya mia, right? Yeah. There's pilau njeri.
Yes.
And there's pilau ya viungo, right?
I like pilau njeri, my friend. Don't hate. Appreciate.
So the complexity has a part to play.
True.
So will pilau njeri get any better, however long you keep it. No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah? But there's a way complex stews or complex meals, it tastes better the next day.
Yes, exactly.
Porridge. I like fermented porridge. I don't like fresh porridge.
Yes.
So it's the same way. So if the wine is made in a complex manner, then surely it will get better with age because things will integrate better. Like if it's Pilaungeri wine,
yes,
just drink it now. It's okay. And it's not bad because even the places you go and you only get that Nescafe sachet.
Exactly.
And you drink it. But there's times you really need a Java espresso. So that's the same way. So as much as people say wine gets better with age, the caveat is it has to be made to get better with age.
Yes.
Otherwise, Now, most people buy wine for consumption. I learned my lesson. If you're having visitors, you buy wine when they are coming. You don't have wine in the house all the time.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't do that because we'll consume it. And I can get an older wine. Okay. It's available now. I can still get my 2018 or 2015 because they are available. But then again, I could also get you a 2025 now. But then I will buy it on the time. So people don't have space to have cellars at home.
Yes, true.
Yeah? I definitely don't. And I don't want to tempt myself to open a bottle every night. So,
Yes.
So if people are buying more wine on consumption without having to store and sell. So there's no what do you call? There's no shame.
Yes, or judgment.
There's no shame or judgment. Yes. But then of course again, some complex wines taste matters, right? Most of us really just like fruity, refreshing, wines, right?
Yes.
And of course, just the same way, even you're not born liking oysters. Do you eat oysters?
I have tried.
Do you eat matumbo?
Of course.
You see? So someone will be like, matumbo.
Omutura, you're like, what is that?
Omutura, but then, I mean, there's preferences too.
Yes.
So I may have the oldest wine available and it won't move you at all. And I mean, we've done blind tasting. We used to have a wine circle where there'd be a theme and then we'd bring wine. And then you'll be like, I like this wine. Then you'll hear he bought it from the petrol station on the way to the event. So, the brand is what? But you liked it.
Yeah.
You see? And of course, sometimes it's about perception. Just because I've told you that it's Chateau Margaux from France, there's only X amount of bottles left.
Yes.
Then there's joy in tasting it.
And of course now the brand perception and all these things that
all that. But then there's been lots of blind tastings done where the most expensive, sort of more complex, is not even the most favorite. So give yourself grace. Just drink wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And enjoy
People
it.
ask me which is your favorite wine. I say the bottle that's open. Bottle that's open. Because even at a tasting, after the second glass, really, I mean, it's Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy wine from all styles and whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I don't want to study. I want a refreshing alcoholic drink.
Yes.
Yes. And what is open is as good enough as any. Yeah.
So,
lakini kama kuna brands nataka kunilipa kusema their wine is the best.
But I mean, please, and Wanjiru will be sharing, towards the end of the show, information about business. By all means, those big brands. We can take you to. We'll take you to any wine place around the world as well through partnerships with my fellow professionals in the business. As well as different partners from around the world. Kenya is hot right now. In fact, there's a wine show this week in Paris. It's called Wine Paris Expo something. And for the first time, they're actually having a Why Africa panel. Oh. And one of the panelists on that platform, it's done by a lady called Wines by Chinedu Rita Rosa. Okay.
She was actually here for the Gambiroso event.
Okay.
Wines by Rosa. So she has someone from Kenya, Julie Ngene. She's an importer and a company called Galina Kenya. Okay. But she also has a brand called Lolly. So she'll be the panelist from Kenya. Yeah. There's a lady from South Africa, Creation Wines. There's another lady from South Africa from another brand, I can't remember, Spring Fontaine, and then a gentleman who does, French wine. Okay. Yeah, because they're saying these markets have been ignored for a long time.
Yeah,
China was
yeah,
hot,
yeah.
Europe was hot. But then if you need to survive in your business, this is where the numbers are now. People are discerning, they travel, they have access to social media, movies, whatever. We are in the culture altogether. So don't ignore. But again, don't just think of us as bringing those cheap wines.
Yes.
We like all the good stuff too. So and I can see a lot of importers also pushing that as well.
Okay.
So people going to negotiate new contracts with like wine producers who have big portfolios. I say the producers get surprised when the company says, no, we want like your full range. In fact, can we start from sort of mid-level to the top? Where do you say you're from again? I'm from Kenya. Will this sell? And the numbers show. Yes. So it shouldn't just be lower production wines because this is an unknowledgeable market. We have everybody across the spectrum here. Okay. And there is room for even more.
Now, you brought us two bottles.
Yes.
And because they're off my shot, I'm going to just pick one. Okay. And then...
and I'll tell you to read everything on the label anyway.
Okay. First, I'm going to put it over here, over my face, so that you can take a look. So this is called Simon Sig Caps Von Kell. Cap Classique 2022 Brut Rosé. Okay. So please tell us about this Brut Rosé.
Okay, so first and foremost, Cap Classique. The two bottles are both Cap Classique. Okay. You had the rosé one, and then there is one that's just Brut.
Also, I can just show this one as well.
You can also show that as well. It's the same thing, but one is rosé, one is white, right?
So this is still, as you've said, so this is just Brut.
Yes.
2023 Brut. Look. But you're not going back with this.
No, I'm not going back.
Okay. I'm just.
In fact, I'm thinking they should have been in ice for us to enjoy when we are done here.
I am just making sure that because it's after hours, so yes, they can be enjoyed. Yes, please tell us.
And I mean, I could have brought any brand. It's just that given the time we had, these were the ones that were close within reach. But then, okay, number one. Even from the way the bottle is, this is sparkling wine. Can you tell that?
Yes.
I hope it's obvious.
Yes, it is.
Sparkling wine tells you, look at me.
Kwa wedding unanini best man ana pop ile kakitu.
Yes, it's a crown, right? Yes. So I love bubbles. I mean, any time for celebration is great.
Yes.
Now these are South African wines. The Cap Classique is actually a category. That I think is the best kept secret in terms of good value bubbly. Because champagne is made in the traditional method. Okay. Cap Classique is made the traditional method. Okay. Yeah. So they're both made the same way. Which means that we made wine first, we fermented it, we got alcohol.
Right.
But it had no bubbles. So then we put it in this bottle again.
Right.
And then we put more yeast here.
Okay.
And then we put a cap on it. So the intensity and complexity of flavors
creates the
second fermentation happens in the bottle. So Cap Classique is made the same way as champagne is made, but it costs much less and tastes even better.
So so let's just call it it's a better champagne.
So Cap Classique is it. It's a category that I think every African should just be going on. You can see even in the apron, it's perfected by time.
Yeah, let me show this.
Meaning the fermentation in the second, in the bottle, right?
Ata ningeva to for the show. This is so still Cap Classique fermented by time.
Perfected by time.
By time,
So in South Africa, the first people to make wine this way, about 50 years ago, was Simon Sig. Simon Sig, actually in Afrikaans, Sig is I see. So there's the Simon Sig Berg Mountains near this in Stellenbosch. So I'm in the Simon Sig view. So if you're in Nyanyuki, you're Kirinyaga view because Mount Kenya is Kirinyaga, right?
Yes.
Kirinyaga view. So
thanks for breaking that down.
So in the same way, Cap Fonkel is the Cape Sparkle. The bubbles are the Cape Sparkle, right? In fact, I think they should have called all the wines Cap Fonkel because Cap Classique is a French name, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, because it makes sense to give it a local
name or whatever. But global markets, blah blah blah.
True.
Anyway. So for 70 years, South Africa has been making these. There's many brands available. Of course, Simon Sig themselves have other brands available. But I just thought, hey, it's February. It's our birthday month.
Yes.
You were born.
Exactly. Could you Yani, we are all Feb-borns here.
The lady Winnie Gore, who made this happen.
Shout out to Winnie Gore. She's my birthday twin.
Yes.
February 17th. And then yours is
my
on the 18th.
My birthday is 18th February.
Goodness.
So
we must do something.
Yeah, so we can only be popping bottles. There's lots to celebrate. And even just making it this far, my business has been... Okay, our first check came in 2015, right? So we're celebrating 10 years.
There you go.
This year as well. And just, tunashukuru sana.
Yeah.
But of course, to learn more about Cap Savonkel, Cap Classic, and other wines, like I said, where the Wines and Spirits education courses are done in conjunction with DeFreeze. The institution is called Hospitality Competence East Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, those are available on a monthly basis. There's, of course, lots of wine activities happening, pairings, everywhere. People can follow us on our socials and other sort of wine people. There's big shows happening. We had the Gambiroso. Wosa will be sometime in May and June. There's California wines happening in March. I mean, there's many things happening. So there's a lot on the go. Kenya sent a team to the Wine Olympics for 3 years in a row.
Also, I'm learning that there's a Wine Olympics.
The Wine Olympics where...
Tunaenda kufanya nini kwa Wine Olympics? Because, we were called a drinking nation. So please do not... anyway, what is the Wine Olympics?
You do blind tasting.
Okay.
Yeah, you're given a wine. It's poured in your glass.
So your palate needs to be that palate.
So you don't know what country it comes from. You have to name the country. You have to name the grape variety it's made from. You have to name the age of the wine. Right. So this date you see on bottles, like this one has 2022, right? The 2025 you're talking about and whatever. You have to name that. So basically they taste, is it 12 wines in one day? And these countries represented. So you're in a team of 4 people. Yeah. It happens in France every year as well. So we've sent an all women, all have been through our WSET classes. They're all my graduates. So that's really something I'm proud of.
Very nice. Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes, they've topped countries like Italy that are wine producers and all that.
Look at that.
So
opportunity. We take it and we just fill the room.
We just fill the room, yes. We've taken part in competitions. South Africa has run sommelier competitions where you do blind tasting, you do theory, you do a service test as well. There's people who are specializing in different countries. Like we have Italian wine ambassadors, South African wine ambassadors, French wine ambassadors. And there's other initiatives that have come up that, are building the wine culture. Recently, though, we've just registered the Sommelier Association of Kenya.
Okay.
Which
so just first
sommelier.
Yes, because mtu anaweza fikiria unaongea about country uko to the north.
To the northeast of Kenya.
Yes.
So sommelier, French name. Maybe I'm not even pronouncing it correctly, but it's a French name about a wine expert, someone who serves wine, makes decisions about wine in a service environment.
Which you are.
Well, to be honest, I don't call myself a sommelier.
Okay.
Because strictly so I'm not. I prefer to call myself an educator and consultant.
Okay.
Because as much as I know much about wine, I don't work in a service environment, client facing.
Right.
I don't have a cellar of 1,000 wines that I'm, in a sense, sourcing and serving people and deciding what's there.
Okay.
But I work with sommeliers. Now, in Kenya, because we don't have those environments where people can really be sort of, specialist sommeliers, if you know anything about wine, then by default you're called that. But then I think if we use a global standard, you're making decisions, regularly about wine, and not just even wine, alcohol, water, coffee, and all those other things. But yes, of course, wine is an integral part of that.
Okay.
So, and we've had debates. If I have worked and I don't have qualifications, or if I have qualifications and all those things. I think the important thing is for us to have a standard. Right. And to be able to, the same way, say, baristas or mixologists or gynecologists, I mean.
That's like, that was a very, anyway.
I mean, there is standards about professions, right?
Absolutely.
I'm surprised myself. Then I mean, if we can create the same, and then there's of course things about affiliation to international bodies. Of course, that international network, like the Wine Olympics, they're similar like that. But more so, even for the local industry. Just to build a profession. A sommelier in a restaurant should be, in essence, should be earning the same as an executive chef.
Right.
Do they earn that? No.
Well, I don't know.
Because most of the time, the sommelier range is I'm a bartender, I'm the head waiter, I'm the supervisor. Because perhaps even most decisions are being made by a food and beverage manager.
Yes.
Wine doesn't have its own space, for example. We are still food and beverage.
So you need to carve out that space for wine appreciation.
For wine appreciation,
in this country. And I think that also will open up more in terms of this, winepreneurship.
Yes.
Space for people who are interested in this. Now, Wanjiru, unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Oh my!
And so So two things.
Yes.
You will come back.
Oh, I will definitely come back.
You will come back. Because I don't think we can fully exhaust this.
Sure.
But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, to tell us, first of all, give us your parting shot.
Okay.
But also tell us where we can find you, how we can find you. If someone is interested in the I want to call them masterclasses that you provide, how would we plug into that?
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Do I have to spell it out, or there'll be like links on the socials?
Yeah,
okay,
we'll definitely share them.
All right, then. Anyway, WINEJIRU, like wine, WINE, NJIRU. There are two N's.
Yes.
Is on my socials, so Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not yet on TikTok.
Okay.
Then
it's a generation thing. Don't worry.
Then I also do create content with wine professionals.
Okay.
And there's a YouTube channel that it's Conversations with WINEJIRU. So I have interviews with different importers, different wine professionals, and coffee people. We're moving on to even other things that just WINEJIRU likes.
Right.
For the Wines and Spirits Education Trust courses, it's Hospitality Competency Center East Africa. But then again, if they get to me, we can link them up with that.
Link them up, yeah.
And then the different sort of events for trade, Wines of South Africa events, we always post on our socials. But there is a big show in September, Cape Wine Show.
Okay.
So it's capewine.com. Or wosa.co.za. But even every country sort of has a marketing wine body related to that. We post stuff, we repost people's stuff. So if they get to us, they'll probably get to a lot of the other people.
Okay.
So we're happy to engage and to direct people in the right direction.
Perfect.
But then what I want to tell people is, I know wine has this perception in the market.
It's bougie, it's niche,
But you know what? You know what is so great for me?
Yes.
The first miracle in the Bible.
Jesus' miracle.
Jesus' miracle.
Yes.
And who was there too? When he was turning water into wine, who was there?
His mother.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So I want to be like Jesus. And the big thing for me is to find the formula to that. If I can get the formula, it will be great.
Well, because I have some water here.
We have some water.
We could just have done this thing quick fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so really, I don't need any other affirmation. But then again, the people who have been through the different interventions,
right?
And they come back and say, Wanjiru, Mwalimu, do you remember me in your class? And half the time I don't remember.
Yeah.
But there's such success stories of people doing great things globally, people who set up companies.
Yeah.
Someone who was working on my team on the WOSA events is now the lead in a project, for example, for another wine organization. Those things, really, really affirm me.
Yeah.
Getting this invite here today to meet Ezekiel and the Icon Radio team. Again, is affirmation that what we're doing makes sense to people.
Absolutely.
And if we can get more in the industry. Whenever I go to Boma College, which is one of the colleges I sort of guest lecture in, and I see this 20-somethings, I tell them I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I started this business over 40.
Yeah.
But then they can do it now.
Now, exactly.
And get into, in essence, pathways that are as profitable as any other job available. And they can run with it. So if we have created that space for them to do so, we are very grateful. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope it was meaningful and helpful.
It has been illuminating. Thank you, Wanjiru of WINEJIRU, just taking us through winepreneurship, the business of being a wine entrepreneur, from how she started as an iceker to getting into Canada, into South Africa, and then finally coming back to Kenya to establish her business, and being a lecturer and a wine, I want to call you expert or specialist.
Thank you.
And educating us a bit about wine. I am the better for it, for sure. I think our next now conversations should be how, especially that thing for the blind tastes and how these things, like grapes from this place will taste this way. And anyway, more to come. We will share all her socials on our socials. So make sure you're following us on Icon Radio. We are on all social media platforms. Please make sure you do that. Follow me on Ezekiel.Olande on Instagram and LinkedIn as well, and Twitter, X. That name is just Elon Musk.
LinkedIn also.
Yes. So please make sure you follow us on on all our socials, and we'll be sure to share this information with you. But from me and from the Icon team here, it's good night and God bless. Asante sana.
Anthony, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Are we off?
Just
Sugar sweet, but your love is sweeter. So below juice mixed with a little ginger.